Hi there, welcome back to Football-Oranje, your home of Dutch football in the English language. I'm Michael Statham, I'm joined by Mike Bell. Both of us here rocking our Netherlands jerseys tonight because Belgium won, Netherlands 4 in the Nations League, the first of 4 games over this international break. We're really looking forward to the Wales game. I'm hoping to be there myself. So I was wondering actually, before we get into the game, if any of you have any questions that you would ask Louis van Gaal, one of the players, what would it be? Drop it in the live comments or in the comment section below if you're not watching live on YouTube. And we'd love to hear, what would you ask them? Mike, tonight's game though, what did you think? It was, I think, a brilliant performance. Part of me also thought that Belgium weren't that great and actually didn't provide the stern opposition that they might have done if it was a World Cup, say. But Louis van Gaal prepared his players and obviously got them mentally ready as well as physically ready. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you can say Belgium were poor, but that's because Netherlands were so good. I would praise Netherlands more than I would say that Belgium were bad. I think that apart from a couple of minute period where Belgium hit the post in the first half, I think that Netherlands were all over them like a swarm. I think that their pressing really worked. They really pressed them into errors. And in the first half, before they actually scored, it was constantly Belgium would get a ball in the middle, Netherlands would hassle, take it back, create a chance, and then miss that chance. It was getting quite frustrating. I thought that if he didn't take one of his chances, that Belgium would end up hitting him on the sucker punch. But yeah, then Bergwijn got his goal, and then the second half was just the same. It was just constant pressing Belgium into errors from midfield and then capitalising on the counter. I think that I said in the preview that Belgium's defence, I thought Netherlands could get at it, and it worked because the pace of Memphis and Bergwijn just caused them too many problems. I think is it Boyata that was at the back. He had a terrible game. I think that Netherlands really bullied him, and yeah, I think that what Van Gaal has installed in the players is a work ethic, and they didn't stop all the way through. You know, Dumfries was up there all the time. For the fourth goal, you know, Van Dijk was playing a long ball to Daley Blind, who is playing almost like a striker, and nodded it on to Memphis. So, I mean, the players just worked hard from start to finish. You know, they can talk about fatigue at the end of the season, but I think Netherlands were just on it from start to finish and just embarrassed Belgium. I think that Belgium didn't expect this from Netherlands. I didn't think that they'd turn up and just absolutely bully them. And that's what happened. I think that the only thing that I would say was bad was after Ake went off, I think they lost a bit of defensive focus. I think De Ligt came on, and there's a few times where De Ligt was rushing into tackles and Belgium were getting the ball in behind a bit towards the end. It's frustrating not to get the clean sheet, but coming away from Belgium with a 4-1 victory, I think the first time that they've lost at home since 2016, first time Netherlands had beaten Belgium since 1997. I think it's just tonight's just all about positives about this Netherlands performance, and it's one that they hopefully will build on. And you know, with Wales and Poland to come up, you can see them coming out of this international period with 4 wins, and that would be an excellent way to end the season and an excellent way to start this Nations League campaign.
You're right with the bullying point. They definitely gave Belgium a hard time. I think the Belgian players in particular felt like it was an end of season affair, like it might have been a bit of a friendly. Van Gaal was treating this like a proper game. And he had Van Dijk only here tonight. The next 3 games, he's going to be ending his season. He's not going to be playing. But they all turned up. They executed the game plan brilliantly. And Memphis up top proved why he is the undisputed sort of main striker of the Netherlands and the main goal threat. What do you make of his performance tonight? Do you think he doubted a few people wrong? Proved people wrong?
I think I gave it 2 halves. I think that for me, Memphis was in the first half, he was one that disappointed me most, because I think that when Netherlands were breaking, the ball was ended up with Memphis, and there was a few attacks that just broke down because he either took too long or tried to do something a bit silky with the ball. But in the second half, I thought he was absolutely outstanding. You know, 2 goals were so clinical, and he took them so well. And there's that run that he made in the second half where he took on a couple of Belgian defenders, and then he tried to flick it onto Klaassen, but it just didn't come off. I thought was sensational. So the second half, he really picked up from the first one. And yeah, he's definitely, the partnership with him and Bergwijn is just, it's working a treat at the moment. It's worked the past 3 games that Netherlands have played, and you know, it's one that you want to explore more. And I even think that if Memphis dropped deeper into the number 10 position, that would work as well. So I think Memphis and Bergwijn tonight come out of it looking like an attack that would probably terrify I don't want to say every single defence in international football, but most defences would not want to come up against that pace. And we didn't even see either of them getting changed. You could have had Gakpo come on or Noah Lang and run at that Belgian defence and terrify them even more. So I think that Van Gaal has installed a real work ethic into the front two, and that proved dividends tonight because the pace of them closing down Belgium just terrified their defence all night.
What do you think about Steven Bergwijn with Memphis up top? They're very similar kind of players that they're not there to head loads of crosses in or anything. They're not proper true strikers. But Bergwijn, he's saving his best form for the Netherlands, isn't he? He just needs to move away. And Ajax just seems so logical at the moment. Do you even see him possibly going back to Ajax and playing as a striker, especially if they sell Haller?
Yeah, I think the move to Ajax is the one that looks most logical at the moment. Reports were coming out today saying that Ajax have bid for him. It's been rejected, went back in with another bid, and they're waiting for Tottenham's response. But Tottenham might add a couple of digits after that display tonight. Yeah. I think when you see him in an Netherlands shirt and what he's done in this game and what he did against Denmark, even what he did against Germany when he came on, it's baffling that he doesn't play at Tottenham. You got to wonder what are they seeing that, or what is Van Gaal getting out of him that they aren't. And I think that a move back to Ajax is the most logical thing for him, especially with the World Cup coming up. He wants to be playing week in, week out. If he goes to Ajax, he will be a starting forward for them. And if Ajax can't bring back Brobbey, bring back Bergwijn, and he can play that sort of role up top. He did it for PSV at times. He played for the middle. He did it for under 21s. At times it didn't really work, but so far in this formation, the 5-3-2, it's working perfectly. And you got to say that right at this moment, Bergwijn's undroppable for Netherlands.
Yeah. And in the Champions League for Ajax, he could be a really useful tool, couldn't he? In a different kind of game where you're expected to win 4-5-0 as a striker, maybe not as useful, but in those games where it's going to be quite tight, yeah, putting him as a striker could be a great move. I want to bring in some of the live comments. Please do, if you're watching live, put a comment in. If you're not watching live, again, put a comment in. Someone said it's a world-class performance, total control all game, look like World Cup contenders. Can they build on this, get better and maintain consistency? If yes, it may just be our year. Very different kind of vibe in the comments this evening. People being very optimistic. We've got Rum saying that Bergwijn, a bench player at Spurs, but a great player in an orange shirt. Very good performance. Scream Saeed, awesome game. Would have loved to keep the clean sheet. I think the Netherlands did give quite a few chances away, though I can't blame them given the attacking performance that they did and the amount of chances they created in the other end. But yeah, they deserve a goal, I think, Belgium in the end, as gutting as it was to not get the clean sheet. John says, David Blind's got 2 assists. Hope the Spurs aren't watching this match. Could have cost Ajax some more money. You're right in saying that, Mike, I think, as well as you, John. I think it's going to cost a bit more money now, that game itself. AJ Nix, Dutch passing silky smooth to watch De Jong, but Blind, Berghuis, Klaassen combined with Depay, Bergwijn, Dumfries, like Federer in full flow. Another one from Ras. Frankie was good tonight, but I think that was to be expected. Performing against teams that don't sit back is his thing. Yeah, some really great comments in here so far up this evening. So if you've got any more, drop them in. And I did say earlier as well that if you would ask Van Gaal or one of the Netherlands players something, what would you ask them? And I suppose there aren't many antagonising questions to ask Van Gaal this evening, especially when you think that this could be. I agree with that comment earlier that this could be a team that could contend at the World Cup. Anything you would tweak with that, Mike? Anything you could hold Van Gaal to account for? I think some people were kind of rolling their eyes at the lineup when it was kickoff, but it worked.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, you've got to trust. I mean, you doubt his selection when he brings in players like Vincent Janssen, and then you doubt his lineup when he plays with Berghuis in the deeper role, and it looked like Klaassen in the 10, Daley Blind at left back again. But I mean, look what happens. It worked, and you got to say Daley Blind, every single time I doubt him, he puts in a display like he does tonight, where he gets 2 assists and some of his passing is just great. And you think, well, how can you drop him after that? Yes, defensively, he's a bit slow, but what he does on the ball is great. And then he sets up 2 goals. So there is some things that you'd like to see, like more substitutions. I think that towards the end of the second half, when Belgium were really going at Netherlands, you could tell that maybe the attack was a bit tired and the pressing sort of stopped. And if you brought on a couple of players towards the end in attack just to freshen up the legs, it might have worked a bit better. And as I said, like bringing on De Ligt for Ake, I think that defensively they got a bit shaky after that as well. I think that was possibly the wrong move. Or maybe just make the substitutions a bit earlier because, Koopmeijer's coming on with 4 or 5 minutes left. Doesn't really get that time to impact. And only 2 substitutions tonight in a game that maybe would have taken some out of the Netherlands players. It means that what I can only think is that against Wales, we're going to see a lot of rotation. I know Van Dijk's not going to play, but I think maybe another couple of our players might start instead of some of the ones that did tonight. So we might see a bit more rotation against Wales. But I think, Van Gaal, for me, nothing but credit for tonight. I think he made the right decisions. I think even bringing in Jasper Cillessen tonight, I think was the right move because he made 2 excellent saves tonight and did nothing wrong. He can do anything with a goal that Belgium scored. I think he proved again tonight that he is more than capable of being Netherlands number 1. His distribution when he was getting the ball was perfect. There was never any point where he thought that he might lose the ball when Belgium were attacking him. I thought he was a calm head at the back when he was getting it. So overall, I think Van Gaal for me is doing a great job. Netherlands still unbeaten under him. We've played Germany away, we've played Belgium away, still going on strong. So I think he's getting his Netherlands side ready for the World Cup, and who's going to doubt them now? That's the thing. Who can doubt this Netherlands side going to the World Cup and doing something special?
When you think that they've got Wales twice coming up, Poland coming up, you said this could be 4 wins out of 4. I agree with you. And it could be then this great optimism that's brought up before the World Cup, because that will be it for the season. Then going into the winter, going off the back of these results, there's going to be a lot of positivity. I wonder whether this is an opportunity, though, against Wales, especially the home match, and maybe the home match against Poland as well, to go back to a 4-3-3 and show that they can be versatile and that Van Gaal is willing to play a different formation to suit the opponent they're going to play. I'm not sure, still not convinced that this one would work when you're going to have loads of the ball. Tonight, this worked perfectly because Belgium have such great attacking players. And on the counter-attack, they just got hammered through the middle of the pitch, didn't they? Does the same happen against such a compact defence?
I think that's what we need to see. It worked against somebody like Denmark. So if you're comparing it against somebody like Poland or against Wales, we need to see how this would do with a lot of the ball. Would Daley Blind, for instance, step up a bit? Or somebody, you need somebody at the back that can step into the sort of midfield role, make it more attacking. If they had a lot of ball would basically camped in the opponent's half, we need to see how that would work. One thing about the game against Wales is coming up. Wales have got this World Cup qualifier this weekend. So either way that goes could play a huge impact to the game against Wednesday. Wales, if they lose, they're going to be absolutely gutted, and if they win, they might not care about this match really. You saw some of their players didn't play against Poland in the first game, like Gareth Bale, I think were rested. If Wales win on Sunday to make the World Cup, or if they lose, is Gareth Bale really going to want to play in a Nations League game? Probably not. So, what sort of Wales side are we going to get on Wednesday? So if some of their star players don't play, then I would expect Van Gaal to maybe go a bit more attacking. And with the players that he has on the bench, like Cody Gakpo, Noah Lang, are they going to work out in a 5-3-2? That remains to be seen, because players like that would suit more a 4-3-3, maybe putting something like Weghorst for the middle, seeing how that works against a nation that's going to sit back. Because if you're going to cross into the box, you're going to need somebody like Weghorst, or he's coming back this weekend, Vincent Janssen. So we'll see how he lines up against the so-called Western nations in the games to come up. But I think this is a great start. It proves that 5-3-2 is the way to go against the tougher nations. We've seen it work against Denmark. So it worked to an extent against Germany. I think they're quite lucky to get a draw out of that game. And then we've seen it work tonight perfectly. So whether he tries it against Wales on Wednesday, just to see how he does against a team that might defend more, just to see if they can break that down, he might try that. But I think 4-3-3, as you say, is the way to go.
Let's hope that we do see a bit of flexibility. Let's bring in some more comments. Fred says Nathan Ake looked fantastic. Smart move to start him tonight. Do you agree with that, Mike? I thought to begin with, when he had that tussle with Lukaku, it's not a good decision to play him against Lukaku, but then when he possibly brought him down to it could be in a red card, it did look a bit of a dodgy one. But what did you think of his performance overall? And also, was that a red card?
No, if you look at it, Lukaku's barging into Ake, basically pushes him over, and then for me, I didn't even think that Ake tripped him up. I think Lukaku landed awkwardly and then just jumped to the floor and obviously injured himself. So I think Ake did really well against Lukaku in the opening stages, and I don't think it was a foul. So I think that, it was a very smart decision. I think that if he's going to want to play a left-footed centre-back, his choices are Blind, Ake, or Martins Indi. And out of those three, I think that Ake is the best choice. And I think that Ake even offers something in the box as well from set pieces. We've seen him score headers before from corners. One against Italy stands out in my head. So he is a threat at both ends. So it's a smart move tonight. He played well. I think he's done himself the world of good. I think he showed to Van Gaal that he is the man to play that left-footed role going forward. So out of all players that had something to prove tonight, I think that he did himself a lot of justice. And even, as I said before, when he went off and De Ligt came on, that's when it started to go a bit rocky. So I think that even then, Van Gaal sees that, and then you'll know that he made the right decision.
And that brings us to another comment here. The Ras thinks that De Ligt's performance wasn't particularly convincing. Still prefers De Vrij in his place. Wow. To think a couple of years ago when De Ligt was just coming in so immense that people would now doubt his starting spot. That does seem to be the case now. It could be Ake, it could be De Vrij actually being more in the Netherlands side. I thought De Ligt would have been like first name on the team sheet for years to come. Isn't quite happening at the moment. John said, is this the only match for Van Dijk? Yes, that is correct. He won't be playing in the next three of these Nations League games. And 1989, Alania says, great, very good evening. Highlight of the games, Edgar Davids in a suit on the bench. It was really odd seeing him there. Not going to lie. He's got a good team around him, Van Gaal, hasn't he? He's got some different experienced kind of people. And how useful is that? I thought Henry Fraser was a decent one to have because he's got his head in Eredivisie. Now that he's not part of the team anymore, he's got Davids in his place. Really strong. Got another comment that's just coming actually now about did Hazard bribe the ref? Every time Timber got a foot in, the ref blew his whistle.
I totally agree. That annoyed me so much in the first half that every single time Hazard got the ball, his back was to, he did nothing but fall over and he got a free kick every time. There was one that it was just before the break that Frankie de Jong went in perfectly, took the ball off him, and the referee blew for a foul. It's so annoying. I thought the referee had a poor game throughout. I think there was a few times where challenges were going in on Belgian players and everyone's nicking the ball and they would get free kick time after time. So I agree with that comment 100%.
Something I didn't come up in the comments very much, but I did want to talk about David Klaassen and Steven Berghuis starting in midfield. Originally, they had Berghuis next to De Jong on the formation, and people thought that wouldn't Klaassen play there and then Berghuis further forward. Berghuis was actually really useful coming from deep in central areas, and his shooting did lead to, I've got on my notes, at least one goal, might have been two. But, he got an assist, didn't he? And then also his shot was saved and it led to the goal for Dumfries. He had a good performance. It's a shame that he missed a couple of chances. You said about Memphis as the player you're most disappointed with in the first half, despite it being a very good first half. For me, I thought that was Berghuis, but the second half performance kind of made up for that. What were your thoughts on him and Klaassen?
I think it was interesting because Van Gaal gave some comments before the game saying that he'd given permission to Klaassen and Berghuis to basically interchange whenever they wanted. So they had a fluid role. So it was up to them on the pitch to decide which one was going to move forward and which one was going to go back. Yeah. I think it worked really well, especially in the second half. When you saw the second goal from Memphis, it was Klaassen that robbed the ball, played it to Berghuis, and then Berghuis played it through to Memphis with an excellent through ball. So I think that trio, yes, I was sceptical before the game, but I think it worked really well, especially in the second half. They worked tirelessly throughout. I think that David Klaassen gets a lot of flack, and I've seen quite a few comments on Twitter tonight as well saying it. But he worked so hard, and it's stuff that he does that goes unnoticed. Just little touches here and there, or little times that he wins the ball, or little bits of space he gets into and he plays the ball that he does perfectly that you don't really pick up, and it's crucial to the team. So I think that both of them had a really good game tonight, and I think that going forward it is going to be probably the midfield trio that Van Gaal has in his head to go forward with. I think that maybe when it rotates, you'll see Koopmeiners come in there. I'd like to see Shooting get a chance to come in, make his debut. That'll come in the next few games. But I think that this trio now is the trio that's going to move forward for me into when Van Gaal has to really solidify his lineup, because I think it worked perfectly tonight. And the more they play together, I think Klaassen and Berghuis obviously have a good relationship from the season at Ajax, and the more they play with Frankie, I think the three of them will work perfectly and combine well with Memphis and Bergwijn in attack. So yeah, skeptical beforehand, but I think it worked perfectly.
Same actually. It worked very well this evening, and the question now is, can they be consistent and keep delivering this? We've seen from Klaassen before that he's had an excellent performance in a Netherlands shirt, and then it disappears and he fades away. People want him dropped, but you can see that what he does tonight is really useful, and going forward, yeah, you want to see that. So tell me, Mike, before we end this live stream, what would you like to see against Wales in terms of perhaps tactics from Van Gaal, but also players you want to see on the pitch? And I'm not going to ask you what your predicted 11 is, because that's very difficult to do, because it's, a few days after this, they're playing Wales and it's Louis Van Gaal. So asking you to predict that would be impossible. However, what would you like to see? I'm guessing Cody Gakpo is going to be one of your first ones that you want to say.
Yeah, I want to see how Cody can do in this lineup and how he can fit into a 5-3-2. I'd be that for me going into this international period was my biggest question mark, because I think that he's such a good player and he can be such a threat in a 4-3-3. And how would Van Gaal work him into a 5-3-2 is one thing that I want to see. And Van Gaal's working wonders with some of these players. I want to see how he can do it with Cody as well. So I'd like to see Cody either start or come on at halftime and get a bigger run out. But I want to see more of the same. We see it sometimes from Netherlands where they put in such a great performance, but then the next one against maybe a small nation isn't as good. So I want to see them attack and be as intense as that tonight against Wales. Whoever starts the game, I think that he will make changes. I think it'll be quite a lot of changes, and I think that somebody like De Vrij will come in and he'll be the Van Dijk role. He'll be the centre defence leader of the back. But I want to see the same intensity. I want to see the same tracking back, the same closing down that we saw tonight against Belgium, against Wales as well. Because starting with 2 wins away from home would be a perfect start to this group. I think that if Netherlands get 4 wins from these games, then that's pretty much top spot in the group's sealed. Going into the second lot of games. So intensity is what I want to see. Changes, yes. And what I'd like to see, maybe Shooting get his debut. Part of me wanted to see what Noah Lang could do tonight, just after his comments in midweek about how he was Belgian football and they're going to miss him and stuff like that. I was really hoping to bring him on tonight just to wind Belgium up even more. But we see that, and just let Noah Lang maybe come on and let his feet do the talking, because his mouth is certainly doing a lot of it right now. So let's see what he can do with the ball at his feet. So I think I'd like to see him just tweak a few things, but just, as I said, more of the same. Another good performance, and let's go. Let's keep this pace and intensity and performance level up going into World Cup, because if they play like that tonight in Qatar, then there's not a lot of teams that can stop them.
Yeah, I want to see a few players as well, but also that consistency. And you said all those things that we've seen this evening. Let's see those same things again. Even if it's not 100%, it's a glorified friendly at the end of the day, this Wales match. But seeing those same things again, ready for the World Cup, would be brilliant. Thank you everyone for your comments this evening. obviously, if you weren't watching live, I know a lot of our normal people that are in the comments aren't commenting this evening. Maybe they've missed the live stream, but do drop a comment below and we'll get back to you. People saying that you like to see a good midfield and fluid, accurate ball movement. And John says, keep midfield the same, give Hapo a starting spot. Yep, great analysis. Thank you very much, John. So to end the stream, just to say, do comment your thoughts on the game below. And we're hoping after the Wales game, I'm hoping to be at the Wales match myself in Cardiff. I'm hoping after the game to get in touch with a player, perhaps Van Gaal. We'll see. Don't know the ins and the outs of it yet. If you have a question for them, though, what would you ask them? Just to give me some ideas. What would you ask Van Gaal or a player after that Wales match? What kind of things do you want to know about the insides of the squad and such? Leave us a comment below and I'll read it. Perhaps I'll ask it. And also, lastly, if there are any British or Irish followers of Football-Oranje, Premier Sports at the moment are doing a deal so that they can watch all of the Nations League games for the Netherlands till 2024, which is pretty good. So if you're interested, subscribe to Premier Sports if you're in the UK or Ireland. Anyway, that's enough from me and Mike. We're back definitely after the home match against Wales, but the away match against Wales, there might be a couple of things that come up on the YouTube channel. However, on the website, of course, Mike will be really busy putting things up in the run-up to the Wales game, after the Wales game. So stay tuned to there and more from us very soon. So thank you for watching, everybody, and more from us soon at Football-Oranje. If you head over to the website, are you doing your player ratings, Mike?
Yeah, I'm just about to do them straight after the game. I don't know who is going to come out on top right now. I need to think about that. Might just give them all 10 out of 10 after tonight.
Pretty good after all. Let us know your man of the match below as well. So yeah, if you haven't had a chance to comment, get involved below and join in the conversation. Bye everybody for now, and speak to you soon.